So I woke up this morning. It was storming all night to snow. Oh my gosh. I did not plan on this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. So it's going to get up to 40, 42 later this afternoon. And then I'm heading down to St. George. Oh my gosh. Oh man, look at all this snow on the roof. Having to push it off. This is so not fun. Oh. Cedar City. I'm at the Walmart. Yay, setting sun. Oh my gosh, my legs are tight from sitting, but I made it. It's been a while since I've done a video, but here I am. Oh boy, I'm not going to record a lot tonight, but I kind of took the summer off. You know, I was traveling up through Montana and Oregon and Washington, and I just didn't feel like doing videos. I just didn't. I just kind of enjoyed the landscape. Boy, it is mighty pretty up there. You know, Washington and Oregon. I was on sort of the eastern side. I didn't do any traveling over into the west. I had planned on going to the Oregon coast, but the temperatures were so hot there. I was gonna go over to Crescent City, but I would have had to go through like Medford, and it was like 113 out there. It was crazy, and I just didn't feel like doing it. But it was hot everywhere, so I ended up going through Walla Walla and then over to Missoula. It is time to get to Lewiston, so I found this on Google Maps, and this has turned out to be an awesome street for the weekend. Branches. I don't know what this would have been like during the week, like how busy it would have been, but you know, it was great for the weekend, for the day and a half that I was here. And it turns out right down here at the end of the street, there's this historic site. Apparently back in the mid-1800s, when the West was being settled and explored and charted and stuff, right at this spot was an establishment of a route going all the way over into mid-Montana and then back east. You can see some of the signs. Mullins Road Historic Site. So I'll have to look up some information and post that, but there are a bunch of signs about it. Mullen Road Historic Site. The beautiful rolling farming hills around here. Look at this beautiful farming house with the barn next to it. Field of wheat. Oh, it looks, maybe it's abandoned. Dead deer. So I am in Lewiston, Idaho. Actually, I'm technically in Clarkston, Washington. And I'm in a parking space just for the night that I found on Google Maps. Right next to this business here. I've got this entire strip free. And the great thing was when I got here, this was blocking the light, so it actually cooled things down. There's a big field over there and sort of this big box motel right there. Oh boy, it was 103 when I got here today. And so I left from Walla Walla today, and I gotta tell you, I wasn't expecting the drive to be as cool as it was up here. Boy, I'm just telling you, it was just such a spectacular drive. From Walla Walla, you're just driving through these incredible hillscapes of farms and wheat, and it was just incredibly beautiful all the way here. I mean, just the variety of scenery. It was like themes and variations on farming and rolling hills of wheat. Just really, really, really beautiful. So I just took this route up through the Idaho mountains, and yeah, I made it over to Missoula. So I am in Missoula, Montana. I have been driving a lot over the past week. I am parked down the street from a Walmart. And I actually want to get out of Missoula already. There is a Walmart right here, and I had found the street that this was on, but there are these partial no parking signs down there, but there's an old RV that's parked down there. And so I found this street was just right along here. And so when I went into the Walmart over there, when I got here, there were signs that said no overnight RV parking, but there were a whole bunch of RVs in there. I walked into the Walmart, and there are RVs there, and they're not moving despite the clear sign there. And there was a guy standing over there by the home and garden section, an employee. And so I asked him, I said, hey, so what's the deal with the RVs? I said, do you kick the RVs out at night? Because the sign, he says, no, we don't enforce it. I said, oh, really? Okay. I said, I'm just passing through your area, and I was just curious. He says, no, we don't. He says, I suppose the police could do it, but they never do. I got here, and then I parked. Frustrating after a long day of driving. So let me take you back. I was in Lewiston, Idaho, after having come from Walla Walla. And I got to tell you, Walla Walla, the drive from Walla Walla to Lewiston and Clarkston is a great drive. It's just picturesque, like farm country, little valleys with these little farming hamlets and villages. It was just an incredibly pretty drive. So I got to Lewiston, and I just stayed the night, and I didn't want to stay there. There was not a lot to see there. So I got on the road, and then you head up into the forests, and I went over this forest pass that you have to go through to get here, and it was really pretty, although it was kind of monotonous after a while. It's like, how long can you see really pretty drives, really pretty views, mile after mile after mile, and they all just sort of run into each other. What I did today was I actually took the RV and I drove to a couple of the spots that I had found on Google Maps as potential parking spaces. So my Planet Fitness is just over that way, about a mile or so. So I went to Planet Fitness, and right behind Planet Fitness was this long street that I had identified as, as a potential street. But there were a couple of junker RVs there. Can't do here.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left.
Ah, dang it. People have found it. And they've already got this encampment. Oh, damn it. I didn't even want to be associated with them, even if I was down, at the end of the street. So then I turn around the corner. I'm going to the Planet Fitness, and there's another junker RV. So I thought, well, okay, the town here must be fairly tolerant. And then I drove over to Butte. I have made it to Butte, Montana. You can see the mountains off in the distance, and it's really hazy because there has been a lot of fire someplace here in the west in Montana. When I got into Missoula, there was a fire going on. So yeah, look, and there are actual clouds. We've been in this high pressure system for such a long time. There have been virtually no clouds. It actually feels slightly humid out here. So, oh, look at this. So I have this grassy area. I'm parked at a Walmart that clearly seems to allow it. There were no signs. And on this end, this is a huge parking lot. There are a bunch of RVs over there, but I didn't feel like parking next to them, especially since I had this grass right here. And I always like having just a little bit of my own space. So anyway, I made it. I left Missoula today and I drove on a route that I've never been on before. And yeah, so that was kind of cool. The drive between Missoula and here is really pretty. And I ended up stopping in this little town along the way, about halfway in between Deer Valley or something like that. I'm suddenly escaping. These are just so fascinating. It's boarded up over there, and then down below, you know, 1970s, somebody put these awful, the awful renovated part, but the W.M. Coleman building. Wow, what interesting history. Boomerang, Louise Montana's bakery and beef pasties. This seems like such a completely Montana thing to have a log cabin type of construction. Well, that was fascinating. And check this out. What the heck is this? Oh my gosh. Could that be like a prison of some sort? Huh. It looks kind of like it could be. And then there's a World War II museum. Oh, and look at this. Some trains. I've no place to park. RV parking. This really is one of the most interesting but odd bits of history out here in the middle of Montana. These great big gigantic electric trains that were built for the Soviet Union back during the Cold War, now just sitting here in the middle of Montana. That is absolutely interesting. The Milwaukee Road. Wow, and check this out. The Carriage House, 1909 Sears mail order kit. That is the craziest thing. This little town is just full of interesting factoids and things. So this is where you would store your new Model T. A little kit house that you bought off the Sears catalog. How completely fascinating is that? It's actually just as ornate on the interior. It's a little hard to see because of the chicken wire. And then right around the corner, this white building, it was an old original schoolhouse. It's probably had new paint applied to it since. Built, so Cottonwood City. Snowshoe School, so that was 14 miles away. It's been moved here. All of these have been moved here. Blood Family Cabin was 38 miles away. So all of these are vintage buildings that have had some preservation work done, but that's a wheel working shop right there, where people maintained and built carriages, the wheels for carriages, and then a woodworking shop, an old jail. The middle one there that is now a church was originally a cabin built in the mid-1800s by a guy for his 4 boys. A post office, an original post office, and then just a little cabin that somebody built for themselves. These have all been moved here, but these were all vintage to around this area in the 1800s. And this, so there's obviously been a lot of restoration work, but this is one of the first single room schoolhouses built in the era. This little town had a whole bunch of history. They had like a series of small museums. There was an old penitentiary site established in the 1800s when many of the states in the United States weren't even formed yet. In fact, Montana wasn't even formed as an official state when it was established. And so the federal government ran this penitentiary. And it was established because it literally was the Wild West out here. And there was a gold rush going on, and there was a lot of apparent lawlessness. And so they established this penitentiary as a way of trying to establish sort of some law and order. And then when Montana finally got passed as an actual state, it took over. I got there kind of late in the day and I didn't feel like going in and doing the tour, so I got just a bunch of external photography. But I was just driving down this little main street and suddenly this like weird castle looking building shows off on the right side. And then right next to that were two big train engines, like fairly more modern ones, not from the 1800s, that were these big, sleek, electric engines, you know, train engines. And it turns out that those engines were there because GE, General Electric, back in the 1940s or early 50s, was contracted to build these by the Russian government, the Soviet government, right? And so they built these specialized all-electric, you know, engines, very powerful engines. And then apparently the US government said, no, you can't sell them to Russia. So they had to repurpose them for the correct track width that's used here in the United States. And so they went into service here. So they're just randomly right there in this little downtown area. And then worked my way down back to Idaho Falls, where my mom lives, and spent some time with her. And then back down to Utah, and I just did not do any recording. But, you know, it's a beautiful area up there. I'm telling you, it really is beautiful. But I'm back traveling into the Southwest. I was staying in Utah Valley because my sister was getting married and I wanted to be there for that. So that happened a day ago, and I literally took off a day and a half after that was done. Here I am. So you can see there are other RVs here. Another one there, trailers. Every time I've been here, just lots of traffic coming through. My gym is just down there. There's a Starbucks there I like to go at. I'm really hungry. There's a Chipotle over there I think I'm gonna go get something at. So anyway, it's always fun to be back here. And so I'm gonna just stop now, go get something to eat and relax, because travel days always take it out of me. So anyway, thanks for watching.